We gave your child's operation money to your sister. She deserves a better life." My father said it with a smile, leaning back in a chair at a restaurant where the silverware cost more than my first car. This story is a brutal lesson in how the people closest to you can become your worst enemies. I promise, if you stay until the end, you'll see exactly how the price of that choice was paid in full. But how did a simple dinner for a medical loan turn into the total bankruptcy of my parents' reputation and fortune? My 7-year-old daughter Lily sat beside me, her hand trembling. A tumor was pressing against her spinal cord. We had 4 weeks before the damage became irreversible. My parents arrived draped in Chanel and Rolexes with millions in their accounts. I begged for help, offering my house as collateral. My father cut into his steak, the knife scraping bone, and delivered the blow. They were giving the $180,000 I needed to my sister Jessica for a clothing boutique. The table went silent as Jessica sipped a $200 bottle of wine and told me not to be hysterics because Lily wasn't dying yet. My fiancé David sat perfectly still, watching them like a predator. He'd insisted on this dinner, though he'd never spoken a word about his own wealth. He pulled out a sleek phone and looked at my father with eyes colder than the ice in his glass. "Should I tell them what I do for a living?" David asked. My father scoffed, dismissing David's career as modest. That was when David dropped the bomb. He was a senior partner managing an $800 million portfolio with a bonus alone that could fund the surgery 10 times over. He had the money all along, but he needed to see if he was marrying into a family or a pack of wolves. If you're enjoying this story of justice, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. 6 months later, Lily walked without assistance for the first time, but my sister's business was a different story. I received a frantic text. The boutique had failed because Jessica had no business plan, and she'd already spent the investment on luxury cars and clothes. My parents weren't comforted by her creativity anymore. They were now suing their own golden child to get their money back. Jessica showed up at the hospital, unwashed and desperate, begging me for a lawyer. David stood between us, reminding her that she'd made it clear where her priorities were. As security escorted her out, my father cornered me in the parking garage, claiming I was just as bad for using money to manipulate them. I looked at the man who prioritized a retail lease over a child's spine and realized I felt absolutely nothing for him. 1 year later, an invitation arrived. My parents were renewing their vows for their 40th anniversary. My mother called from a new number, sobbing that family should be there and that Jessica was now living in a studio apartment, working a retail job she hated. She asked if they deserved forgiveness for their one mistake. I told her that forgiveness isn't the same as a relationship, and that I was protecting my daughter from people who saw her life as an elective expense. I watched Lily run across the yard, her legs strong and fully recovered, a future built entirely without the people who failed the most basic test of love. I told my mother to live with the choice she made, because I have chosen to live without them. I have watched my parents choose a boutique over my child's life, and I chose accordingly.